My Maine Gardens. We're here at Sprague's where we're thinking perhaps we don't want to go to an apple orchard, we want our own apple trees. So Deb has got some questions about how we arrive at that destination.
Hey, I am with Mike at New Sprague's Nursery and Landscaping, and we're talking about apple trees. 'Tis the season, and you have an amazing variety of apple trees here at Sprague's. Why is now a good time to think about planting an apple tree? Because, you know, we're all in love with apples this time of year, and so somebody may be thinking, geez, I'd really like to have apple trees in my own yard. Now's a good time to plant, correct?
Definitely. Now's a really good time. The temperatures usually are a little bit cooler. It's a lot less stressful on trees putting them in this time of year as opposed to June, July, August. This is an excellent time to put them in.
Okay, so what should we consider when we're considering planting apple trees? There's so many different varieties. What are the things we should be thinking about?
Typically, you know, depending on where you live, something that's gonna be hardy enough. Typically zone 4, maybe zone 5. The majority of the trees that we carry are gonna be zone 4, zone 5, hardy enough to survive the winters here. Most varieties, McIntosh, Honeycrisp, Cortland, those tend to be the most popular ones. Those are the ones we typically carry. Those are the ones that do best this time of year getting put in.
Okay, and I know from my own experience, I've purchased apple trees from you and planted them. There are also different sizes of trees. We planted dwarf apples because we didn't want them to get huge.
Right.
Talk to me about that a little more.
So for the most part, what we typically carry are semi-dwarf. So, you know, 10, 15 feet tall and wide is typically about as big as they're gonna get. The production tends to be a little bit better on the dwarf and semi-dwarf as opposed to the old-fashioned full-size ones.
Yeah, and that's worked really well for us.
Yeah.
Another thing that I have found is when they produce apples. So if I buy this tree today, how long will it take for me to actually harvest apples?
Typically, I tell people 3 to 5 years is generally how long it's going to take before you start to see a decent amount of fruit. Sometimes I'll tell people too, say next year you start to see fruit right away. Typically it's beneficial to like pull some of that fruit off, not let it develop in the first year, because what you really want is root development in the first year or two, as opposed to fruit production. It just pulls so much energy away from the root system by letting the fruit go.
And one of the great things about purchasing, you know, it's the service after the sale. And I've been in here many times with a leaf and it might have spots on it or something, and I'm going, help me, what does this mean? So you really will help people manage their trees even after they've taken them home and they've planted them, correct?
Definitely, especially with fruit trees. Spraying for pests and diseases is pretty important. You know, this time of year, treating for them isn't a huge priority. It's mostly, you know, clean up in the fall, making sure you're getting rid of, you know, leaves that may be showing signs of stress. Following in the spring is really when you want to start to think about, you know, maybe a spraying regimen with some fungicides or like an all-purpose. We have some stuff called orchard spray, good organic sprays you can use on any type of fruit tree.
Okay, so great place to come if you're interested in purchasing an apple tree or more than one, or B, you already have them and you'd like some advice and some technical assistance so you have a successful harvest and a successful tree. One more quick question. Do you have to plant more than one so that for that kind of cross-pollination?
Typically more than one variety.
Is a good idea.
Is a good idea.
Great advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so go and grow some apples.
If you want to see this again, you head to our website, wabi.tv. It's the My Maine Gardens tab. Back with more right after this.